So, yeah, I said I would do this on Tuesday. But you know what? I've been busy for these past few weeks. I'm catching up on a bunch of horror movies for Halloween. I saw Dune again in 3D this time. I'm trying to do a spoiler review for No Time to Die, a spoiler review for Dune. I'm also going to try to review Midnight Mass and Squid Game. I'm going to try to review Midnight Mass tomorrow because, Halloween's this weekend. And I've been really busy. I keep pushing this stuff back and pushing this stuff back, and I gotta just do this. And this is the only spoiler review I'm gonna do for right now. I'm gonna try to do No Time to Die and Dune sometime after Halloween. So let's talk about Halloween Kills, because this movie, I can't really talk about this movie without spoiling some things. This movie's insane, and I don't know if this movie realizes how insane it is. Oh my god. So welcome to my spoiler take for Halloween Kills. This movie, again, is just insane. It may be the most ridiculous movie of the year, and I don't know if it even realizes how ridiculous it truly is. Let's talk about this movie. So it kind of opens up with Frank Hawkins. You saw him in the last movie, and, it cuts to the night of the very first Halloween movie, and he basically, it's like after he escaped after the first movie, and it shows him, being captured and such, which you kind of realize, at the end of the first Halloween movie, obviously, he escapes, and we don't know. And initially, I thought they would retcon that. He was just in jail now. He was, in maximum security or whatever. But no, this movie actually showed that, he escaped, and eventually he was caught. So I knew where this scene was going, and a young Frank Hawkins, he has Michael Myers, his partner has him, and his partner is going, shoot him, shoot Michael. And I knew immediately what was going to happen. He was going to shoot his partner instead of Michael, and immediately it happened. I'm like, oh god, come on, is this going to be a cliche fest? No, it isn't. It really isn't. I couldn't predict anything to happen in this movie, but still. So eventually, Michael Myers, he's caught. He prevents Loomis from killing Michael instead. And, basically Michael's caught. They just stand there. They don't do anything. It's just kind of implied, oh, yep, he was caught. And, he's been in prison for the last 40 years. Nothing after Halloween actually mattered. This is the new timeline or whatever. So let's move on to the present. This takes place on the same night as the last Halloween movie. And now Hawkins is the president. He wants to kill Michael. And eventually he's found by Cameron, who was Allison's boyfriend from the first movie. And, eventually, pretty much now the entire town is celebrating Halloween. Kind of weird. They're all celebrating, and yet they're reminiscing about that horrible night. It's like you would think with Michael Myers on the loose that they wouldn't be celebrating anything. Like, they're all at a bar. They're kind of commemorating things. Tommy, Anthony Michael Hall, he goes up there and he goes, hey, on this night 40 years ago, something terrible happened. And, we're thank God that he's in jail now. Okay, again, how do you not know what's happening? I figured, everyone in this town would know what is happening at this point. The town does know. So, let's just move on. Basically, Tommy Wallace is celebrating along with, Marion Chambers, Lindsay Wallace. Wait, no, it's not Tommy Wallace, is it? I don't remember. I've never actually seen a Halloween movie outside of the first one and the new iteration. So anyway, he's with Marion Chambers, Lindsay Wallace, Cameron's dad Lonnie, who also had an encounter with Michael Myers. And, they've all had enough with Michael. And it's weird that all these people are out celebrating tonight. Again, celebrating is a weird word because, again, Michael Myers is on the loose and they should be reminiscing, or they should be in their houses because there's an insane killer on the loose. So anyway, it cuts to the whole, the end of the first movie when Laurie, her daughter, played by Judy Greer, and, Allison, they're all in the van. No, not in the van, the truck. And, they hear the firefighters coming over. And, of course, they're scared because, Michael's about to be unleashed. And so firefighters go to Laurie's house, which, actually, now that I think about it, how did they not expect anyone to call the fire department? How did they not expect that? I don't know. There's a lot of questions I have about this movie, and I kind of thought of them after watching this movie. And again, this movie just makes no sense. And I try not to be that person who complains about, stuff not making sense in movies, because I know a lot of people do that. And I try to let it go for the most part. Here, though, a lot of them are just really obvious. It's like they didn't really think these through. Oh my god. So anyway, the firefighters go to Laurie's house, and you know who's there? Michael Myers, he's there. And in this scene, they have a lot of really cool kills, like how Michael kills all these firefighters is really cool, and it kind of just sets up the kind of kills in this movie. Admittedly, the kills are really impressive in this movie. And they're really inventive, they're really creative, they're stuff that I wouldn't think of for a movie like this. And so, that aside, I think those are really cool, even if the rest of this movie just doesn't make sense. Everyone in this movie is still really stupid. But whatever. Anyway, Michael eventually goes to kill this elderly couple who, you know, they have a drone. And that's how they're spending their Halloween. Okay, so Michael comes in, he kills them, he kind of takes that light and bashes one of them with it. And again, it gets really creative. And like when they're both dying, like the couple's dying, this is probably the most messed up moment in this entire movie for me. It's like the wife is watching her husband just being stabbed over and over again by Michael. At first I thought, oh, okay, that's the most messed up thing I've seen in a while. That is like real psychologically traumatizing. But then again, this woman is dying, so it's not really going to affect her too much. So, and this moment too, like Michael keeps taking knives and just keeps stabbing the guy, and I honestly wanted to laugh. It was just so ridiculous. It was so over the top. And I'm like, okay, what are you thinking, Michael? Maybe I don't want to know what you're thinking, but this is just ridiculous. This is just insane. And I was just thinking about this before doing this video. At least a movie like, say, Malignant. That movie was ridiculous. That movie was over the top, but it was at least paying homage to movies that are like that. But here it just didn't know that it was just being ridiculous and over the top. And so it kind of makes these scenes funnier to me. So it just didn't really work out for me in the end. So anyway, Michael basically kills this couple. It's very dark, it's very sadistic, it's very over the top, and it's like, I don't mind dark, I don't mind sadistic. This just may be too over the top for me. But whatever. Anyway, Tommy and the gang, they all hear, Michael's escaped. Again, how do you not know that Michael has escaped? He was on that bus that crashed the previous night in the last movie. So how do you not know that Michael's on the loose? How? Just how? Anyway, a couple who I believe was in the last movie too, they think they have Michael in their car and he's like taking the car, but no, it's actually one of the escaped convicts from the first movie. So anyway, this guy who escaped the prison, he steals this couple's car and, eventually it starts this whole mob mentality storyline and the whole evil dies tonight BS. And at first I was thinking, this could be really interesting. This could be a really interesting take on this whole thing. Like, we don't really know, how the town reacted to this whole thing. So why not have a movie, not necessarily have a movie that focuses on that, but have a movie that addresses that? Because, it's not just Laurie who has PTSD from this. It's all these other characters who've had PTSD before. And it's definitely very traumatizing, especially for, the kids in the first original Halloween who have now grown up. So that's very interesting. And so it's like, evil dies tonight, we're all going to stick together. So immediately what happens after that? They all split up to find Michael. All these characters are stupid. Literally, these are some of the dumbest characters in any movie I've seen. These are the dumbest characters I've seen in a long time, in any movie. Yikes, they're ridiculous, they're insane. Anyway, eventually Karen, played by Judy Greer, she finds out that Michael's alive. And you would think, okay, now that Karen knows that, what Laurie went through that horrible night in 1978, that she's going to tell her the truth and just move on. No, she doesn't. She actually just doesn't tell her. She doesn't tell Laurie that Michael Myers is still alive. Laurie's just kind of happy. She's bonding with Frank Hawkins. They're sharing about that night. They're talking about their wounds and talking about that night. No, she doesn't tell Laurie Strode that Michael Myers is still alive. I really hated Judy Greer in this movie. Her performance is good, but I hated her character. Her character is so bad in this movie. I really did not like her. Anyway, moving on. Allison wants to join the mob. She heard it from Cameron and such. And so Karen says, no, you got to stay at this hospital. You got to stay with your grandma. Make sure she's safe. But Michael Myers is going to the hospital, so how does that make any sense? How does that make any sense in this movie? Every character in this movie infuriates me. Oh my god. Anyway, moving on to back to the mob, Lindsay, Marion, and the couple from earlier, they find a bunch of kids who were out trick-or-treating. They stole candy from the gay couple who are now living in Michael Myers' childhood home. And now they're kind of like playing around and such. And Lindsay's like, hey, you guys better go. Michael Myers is on the loose. And they're like, we're fine. There's just this creepy guy who's playing, hide and seek with us. It's Michael Myers, of course. You kind of saw in the trailer. And, basically he kills Marion after, she fires all the bullets in her gun. And of course, when she's out of bullets, that's when Michael Myers kills her. Kills the couple, including this really creative door kill where Michael Myers opens the door and it causes the woman to pull the trigger of her gun and it just shoots her. Again, the kills are really creative, but everyone in this movie is pretty much stupid. They are so stupid in this movie. Oh my god. Now, eventually, Lindsay somehow survives this. You kind of saw in the trailer that Laurie was going to pull off the mask of Michael Myers. No, it was actually Lindsay this entire time. So that's a little disappointing. So now, Lindsay's the only survivor of that. Tommy, Lonnie, Cameron, and Allison, who, she left. And she found them, of course. And so anyway, they find Lindsay. She's fine somehow. She's the only person to survive this entire movie. Again, this is a spoiler review, so that's not really a problem. So anyway, Michael is going back to his childhood home. They figured out, Michael's going back to his childhood home. This is the direction it was going. So now a gay couple lives there. One of them is played by Christopher McDonald, I believe that's his name. What's the guy's name? Michael McDonald? I don't remember. It was the guy who played Stuart on Mad TV, and when I saw him, like, wait, what? Seriously? This is ridiculous. This is just insane. Oh my god. And, like, I kind of laugh because it's like, I'm just imagining what Stuart would do in this whole situation. He'd probably be like, look what I can do, and just all that shit. So, anyway, they live in this home now, and they're just as stupid as everyone else. Yikes. So anyway, they realize, they kind of know about the history of Michael Myers, and, like, that was his home where he killed his sister and everything. And so eventually, they realize, why is our door open? Again, everyone in this movie is just so stupid. It's just so infuriating. Eventually, of course, like this mob, they all split up. Both of them, they just split up, try to find him. And Big John, they're both named John. We got Big John and Little John. Ironically, the taller one is named Little John. But whatever. Big John, I don't remember his name, but I remember he was on a TV show called The Mick. But anyway, Big John finds Michael Myers. Or Michael Myers finds him. And so it's like, okay, so I'm just going to kill him. So how does he kill him? He actually just takes him, just pokes his eyes, and just blood just keeps coming out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's messed up. That's basically like on level with the whole, the door gun thing and the firefighter scene. And again, the kills in this movie are admittedly creative. They're dark, they're sadistic, but it's way too over the top to be really taken seriously, or even I'm just laughing at these more than I'm taking them seriously. So moving on, let's just move back to the hospital now, because I guess the hospital's now there. It's in the direction of Michael Myers and where he's going. So anyway, everyone is at the hospital. Laurie, Karen, the mob, pretty much everyone who's still alive in this town, they're all at the hospital, and everyone has just gone mad. Everyone has just gone crazy. Everyone's just insane. So anyway, the former sheriff, who was the father of one of the girls who died in the original Halloween movie, he's even there, and he's even joining the crowd. It's like, okay, you're kind of just losing it when even like even like people who are supposed to keep calm and keep the peace, they're joining the anarchy. It's just crazy. Anyway, Laurie eventually learns that Michael Myers is alive, and she wants to kill him, even though she's recovering from surgery, and she can't really do anything. She gets out of bed, she kind of starts bleeding a bit, and so she stays. Oh, by the way, you don't even see that scene in the trailer where Laurie has the knife, and she goes like, I'm coming for you, Michael. You don't even see that in the movie. You don't. So, anyway, moving on, they all believe that this man is Michael Myers, even though he isn't. And it's the mental patient who stole the car from earlier, who escaped the hospital in the last movie. Again, this makes no sense because pretty much everyone in this town knows what Michael Myers looks like. So they see this guy and they immediately think he's Michael Myers, even though he doesn't look anything like him. It makes no sense. And again, it's kind of creative when they did this, like whenever they had Michael Myers' mask off in some way, they just obscure his face or kind of have it really blurry in the back. That was cool, I guess. But anyway, back to the stupid scene where, they believe this mental patient is Michael Myers, even though they know what Michael Myers looks like, and that clearly isn't him. So anyway, Karen's the only one who's trying to stop him. Yeah. It's Karen and the new sheriff. They try to defuse the situation. Good luck trying to defuse these idiots. It's just insane. So anyway, the mob goes after the man. The man jumps out a window to his death. And I forgot exactly what he said because I saw this like 2 weeks ago. Because like after that, they all kind of realized they're all going insane. They're all going crazy. And it's like, we have become monsters too. And at that moment, I was just like, God, do you have to spell this out for us? Do you really have to spell it out for us? Because we could have figured that out ourselves. We're not idiots. We're not as dumb as the people in this town. It's ridiculous. It's just saying the message of the movie, even though it doesn't really apply, because it's like, are we as big of a monster as Michael Myers? No, you're not. Michael Myers is a psychopath. He has no emotions whatsoever. You are not on the same level of monster as Michael Myers is. Jesus, these people are idiots. And even when they think they get the message, they're still stupid. God, I hated these characters so much. Ugh. So at this point, I'm just ranting. This movie got me. Oh. So anyway, after the situation surprisingly calms down, I mean, not really, but enough after that situation where the man literally commits suicide. Anyway, Allison, Cameron, and Lonnie, they go back to Michael Myers' house because he never even went to the hospital. He's at his home, because of course he is. So anyway, Michael's there, of course, and and again, they split up. Lonnie's like, I'm going to go in there myself. Kind of like, just, I encountered him 40 years ago. I'm going back in there. And of course, he's killed. They find him in the attic and he's just hanging there. It's really stupid. Anyway, and then like Cameron and Allison go after him. He kills Cameron and like you kind of see him like bashing his head on like the rails of the staircase or whatever. And it's supposed to, I don't know if it's supposed to be funny. It's dark, it's sadistic, and again, the kills are just way too over the top in this movie. I don't know if I should be laughing, or if I should be scared, or like if I should feel anything except for anger towards these characters. Anyway, he tries to kill Allison, but Karen literally stabs him with a pitchfork, takes his mask, and Karen's like, hey, here's your mask, come and get it, Michael. And even though Judy Greer gives a good performance in this movie, I still really hated her character in this movie, more than the first movie. Because, like, it's kind of understandable, because, like, oh, I don't understand what you're going through, Mom. Why are you freaking out? And then at the end, it's like, okay, I get it now. I really do. So, in this movie, first off, again, she lies to her mom about her PTSD. No, not necessarily PTSD, but about Michael being dead. And even though he's really alive, obviously. So then she's like to her daughter, hey, please stay at this hospital even though we think Michael's going to be here. And even though she eventually joins this mob, she leads him to the gang and he's going to be killed. And we think, oh, he's going to be killed finally. And no, not at all. Michael literally kills everyone in this mob. He kills Tommy. He kills everyone. He kills basically everyone in this entire town tonight. That is messed up. And again, like, it's creative, but it's over the top. It's sadistic and dark, but it's just ridiculous. And again, I can't really be too mad because all these characters were just so stupid throughout this entire movie. Oh my god. So anyway, Karen goes back to Michael's house. Laurie says she'll kill Michael Myers eventually. They're connected in some way. And because of course they're connected. He tried to kill her in 1978. And weren't they like siblings in another timeline? So anyway, she wants to be the one that kills Michael. But Michael winds up killing Karen in the last few shots of this movie. And he kills her in his sister's bedroom. And that's how the movie ends. And so you would think Halloween Ends would take place immediately after the events of this movie. No, no, not at all. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. So, now what's going to happen with Halloween Ends? Well, first off, apparently going to take place 4 years later in 2022, and they're going to address the pandemic. Why? What is the point of that? Everyone in this town is basically dead now. Why do we have to address the pandemic in this? It makes no sense. Isn't it bad enough that he's basically killed everyone in this whole town and now we have to have people who were traumatized by a pandemic? It just does not make any sense to me. Also, I don't know, because like with all the TV that's been back on, I have mixed feelings about the whole, how TV's been handling the pandemic. Because there are some shows, like obviously medical shows, that have been dealing with it, and some of the characters have gotten it, and that makes sense, I guess. But then there are shows that, they address the pandemic, and like in the next episode, it's not even there. And in their pandemic episode, they're like, hey, it's really important that, you don't really go anywhere. And it sucks, but please don't be anywhere. Okay, that's nice to say that you shouldn't be anywhere and you shouldn't be hanging out with people, says the show where pretty much everyone in the cast is back and they're not wearing masks and everything. For all I'm concerned, Michael Myers is going to be the only one who survived the pandemic because he's at least wearing a mask. So, anyway, it's going to take place 4 years later. It's going to be a coming-of-age story. It's going to be a more intimate movie. That's according to the writers and David Gordon Green. Why? Like, why would you set it up this way? Obviously, again, because this was filmed in 2019, they had to delay and everything. But why would you change this? This makes no sense. Like, I feel like this movie should just end on that night in 2018. Wouldn't that make more sense? Like, it feels like Laurie's just going to leave the hospital and just go on her own to go find Michael. But no, they're just going to jump 4 years. What is the point? I don't know why. Like, it just sets up like, oh, she's going to go out to him. She's going to go find him no matter what. And it's probably going to assume that she's going to die that night. But why would you jump 4 years? It's like, Michael, I'm coming for you. I'm going to wait 4 years. And also, like, obviously you saw in the first movie, Allison's dad was also killed. So now who's going to be watching Allison? Is Laurie going to be watching her? It just makes no sense, really. It all needs to end in 2018. Evil dies that night. Evil dies that night, but stupid died tonight. Oh my god. And like, again, everyone in this town is basically dead except for Laurie, Allison, and I think Lindsay Wallace. She's still alive somehow, I think. We didn't see any dead bodies. She was found earlier, I mentioned. But again, what is the point of jumping 4 years into the future after a night like that? Like, just end it on Halloween night in 2018. There's a lot of things about this movie that make zero sense. Honestly, I might even lower it to like 1.5 out of 4 stars. I initially gave it 2 out of 4. I'm going to lower it to 1.5 out of 4. This movie is just so ridiculous. It's just so over the top. And honestly, I don't even know if I can like truly enjoy it because it's so ridiculous and over the top. But I don't even know if it's even aware of it. And again, I just hated almost everyone in this movie. Laurie Strode is basically just a side character in her own franchise. Everything you saw in the trailer from her, you've seen it in the movie already. You don't need to see it for her. If you do want to see stupid people just get killed, admittedly creatively, yeah, it can be fun. It's sadistic, it's over the top, it's dark. So, I don't know. I just feel like they had good ideas. But what were they thinking at times? Just why? So, those were my thoughts on Halloween Kills. I've ranted a lot more than I expected. What did you think of this movie? Spoilers, you can put them in the comments if you want, because obviously I just spoiled the entire movie. Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and evil dies tonight.